I never listen to voicemails.
Yeah, I've been using that.
Here we go.
It's 6 o'clock. I'd like to call the meeting to order, please. If you could all join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Mrs. Bowles, do we have any adjustments to the agenda?
Yes, we changed our special presentation to specifically our audit presentation. And then we also have added recommendation of handbooks to the agenda as well.
Okay, wonderful. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Yep, there it is. I'll second it.
All right, thanks. Any discussion? All those in favor? Thank you. Item D, approval of the minutes.
I'll make a motion to, where am I? Sorry, lost my,
To approve the minutes.
the last meeting of July. What month are we in? I don't even know. Where are we at?
I'll second that.
Sorry, that was a mess.
You're fine. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Why bother? We're good.
Thank you. Item E, communication and correspondence.
So unfortunately, I have several resignations to report, and I will pass them around. So we have a resignation from EEMS fourth grade teacher Jamie Carter, bus driver Marie Delroy, ed techs Jackie Buwat, Sal Brand, Emily Braley, tech integrator Patience Creech, Ellsworth High School English teacher Nate Cutting, Ellsworth High School assistant cross-country coach Tim Mason, and Ellsworth High School boys basketball coach Corey Bagley. So I'll pass those around so that you can review those. A lot are pursuing other opportunities or have just decided that they would like to move on. So I'll pass those around for you to review.
Thank you. Administrative reports.
So
Mrs. Chan?
Mrs. Chan is on vacation, and I told
Good
her
for
not to
her.
come in tonight. I do want to publicly say how proud I am of the work she's done this summer, both with leadership team, but with our groups of teachers, moving us forward in the area of curriculum instruction and assessment. She's done a ton of work this summer with social studies, with math, and with ELA for PD. And I think over this next year, you're going to see a lot of proposed changes for us to have vertical alignment K-12 and standards, which has been something staff has been yearning for. And I think that some of the instructional material selection that you've seen this last year and this coming year is totally in line and helps move us forward. And she's been instrumental in scheduling those and really spent a lot of time this summer putting things in place to get us ready to have a good start to the school year in those areas. So you do have her report, but I just wanted to mention that. And it's been wonderful to see the number of teachers that have participated and worked with her this summer and come in collaboration with leadership team to get things up and running. So I'm really proud of her work in that area. So my report, if you can even believe it, we are wrapping up summer, which is a little horrifying and makes me want to vomit a little, but we are getting there with fall sports starting on Monday at Ellsworth High School, and us having new staff orientation on Monday. We are off to the races, and then Monday, August 26th, and Tuesday, August 27th are our first days back with staff, and boom, first day of school is Wednesday. So we are getting close. And this summer, you know, people I think, and there's this misconception that educators have the summer off and that we just sit on our laurels and do nothing. And that is absolutely not the case. From the second school got out, leadership team has worked tirelessly all summer and hopefully gotten some time to recharge as well. But leadership teams worked really hard this summer to wrap up last year and put things in place to get us ready to have a good start for this coming school year. And we've done a lot of work on protocols and changes and goal setting and thinking about leadership in a different way to move us forward. So there's been a ton of work in that area. Summer school, we'll be doing a special presentation in September, so you can hear about the different summer school opportunities that we had this summer and how successful those were, and how good we feel about those. Hiring is like the summer in education is a revolving door. You have resignations, you have hires, and I feel good about the fact that leadership team jumped on candidates as they came in, and with the support of the personnel committee, we were able to hire some really good people that we feel fit into where we're going as a school department and be good fits for our team. And then, of course, the cleaning of our buildings, all of the major projects that have gone on, the buses and transportation department getting everything ready for the start of the year. Everyone's been really busy. So we're anxiously trying to fast forward and get us ready for go time. Tomorrow is leadership team retreat for my administrative team. It's the second day of 2 full days that we do to kind of orient us and get us ready for the school year at Woodlawn. And then, of course, on Thursday, we'll have the session with the board as well, so that leadership team can kind of present and show you what we've worked on this summer and where we see us heading in this coming school year, so that we're all on the same page. I think that's really important. I wanted to publicly announce the Maine Department of Education has launched a new initiative called Measure What Matters. And I wanted to make sure that you, as board members, but also the public, knew that these are open to the public. These are being hosted around the state and are really to bring together citizens in Maine to talk about what should schools look like moving forward in Maine, because they are drastically different. Okay, what we deal with in schools nowadays is very different than even when I attended school. And education gets a bad rep right now. And so the DOE is really trying to look at how can we come together and create a vision for Maine schools, and let's get feedback from the ground, and let's involve business owners, parents, citizens, school board members, leadership team members. So the most local or closest one to us is Tuesday, August 27th. Unfortunately for us, that is when we have a board workshop. But it is from 5 to 7. And so, I think if you want to go at 5 and participate for a while, you could. And then, go for 45 minutes or so, or we could have our start time be at 6:30 or 7 if you felt as a board you wanted to participate in that. I think that's up to you. But it is at Lemoyne Consolidated School. And so I have encouraged leadership team. I know a couple of leadership team members have said, we'll go to that and represent leadership team since we'll be in a board meeting. But I wanted to bring that to you and the community's attention. Also wanted to talk a little bit about our vacancies and announce that leadership team very graciously agreed to organize and host a job fair. We've been very successful. We typically get 1 to several hires each year when we do this. August 20th from 5 to 7 at Ellsworth Elementary Middle School, we will have a job fair. Anyone in the community who's interested in anything from being a substitute to a teacher to an ed tech, bus driver, custodian, whatever the role may be, even if you just want to come learn about what it means to do those things, we encourage you. It's walk-in. And we'll have people there to assist you and answer your questions. Right now, we do have some positions to fill. We are in need of several educational technicians. We need substitutes. We need not just classroom substitutes, but we need another substitute nurse. If there are any RNs out there who would like to be a substitute nurse, we really need another substitute nurse. We need a grade 4 teacher. We need EEMS life skills teacher for the middle school. We need an Ellsworth High School English special ed teacher. And we need bus and van drivers still. As you saw, one of our resignations was unfortunately a bus driver. We have 2 bus drivers that are taking our next round of the bus driver training, but they won't be certified for a few months. I mean, it does take some time. So right now, if we can't find another bus driver, we could be looking at starting school with one bus having a double run. So if there are people out there, even with the beginning of even if they have their CDL, we could work with them and get them in this next class and work on getting them certified. Great job, great benefits. But if you're even interested and want to learn more about what it would take, you should come to the job fair so that we can answer people's questions. Having said that, I also did want to talk tonight about our continued collaboration with the city and where we are with that. People ask me about that a lot. Have had several phone conversations, text messages, and meetings with our new city manager, Charlie Pierce. I think we are good thinking partners with each other and are getting to know one another and build trust and rapport. And I think our vision of collaboration has grown and is getting better. I would also say that this evening I had the opportunity to meet with our new police chief, Troy Byers, and Sean Willey, and felt very positive about how that meeting went. I think there's been a lot of misconceptions on both sides. And I think we were able to lay some cards on the table and have some pretty candid conversation about what both sides were feeling. And I think that moving forward, we will have some more meetings and really start talking about community policing and what the collaboration between the police department and the school department should look like and how that should be seamless and not them and us and against each other at times. So I'm really pleased about that. I feel good about our first meeting, and we have a plan for follow-up meetings and some really targeted things that we're going to work on moving forward. So I'm excited to work with the two of them. Excited to get to know Chief Byers. I don't know him that well, but I've had a long-standing, great professional working relationship with Sean Woolley. So my hope is that we had a good initial first meeting, and I have no doubt that that will continue, and we'll see some collaboration between the two moving forward. So that's great. I also provided for you in my report an update on our EMC project. I have been blown away, and I know that a lot of leadership feel the same with what we've been able to accomplish with the TELP that we did and bringing EMC on as project manager to accomplish a lot of our building projects this summer. Ellsworth High School's boiler plant project is still in works. There's another, over the next 6 weeks, you're going to see a lot of welding. And they'll be on-site and off-site getting that boiler plant up and running. But the windows project, that phase is done. Roof, done. The 6th grade roof wing project at EEMS is complete. Frank texted today and said that he met with Mr. Atherton today. The dugouts are going to start on the EEMS softball field. Paving project at HCTC has been complete, with the city also doing the culverts. And paving at EHS is either being worked on or complete, and painting is happening with new lines. HCTC's School Revolving Renovation Fund project is still in works, trying to get those companies for the elevator. Is a huge undertaking. And the lights, the energy efficiency that we're going to get from the lights. When we open Avery Lane to the public, when you see the difference the lights have made in that building and the brightness, it's unreal. They have completed light installation at Avery Lane with the exception of 2 areas. This is how great EMC has been. They literally know I am in a hot press to get us in there. And the shipping of the lights got delayed and they got stuck. And one of the guys from EMC drove to Massachusetts, picked up all the lights and transported them up here rather than waiting for shipping, because shipping right now is a nightmare. So the lights are continuing to be shipped, and those probably will not be done district-wide at the start of school because of the delays in the shipments. But they, every week, communicate with us and give us, this is what we've accomplished this week, this is where we're headed. I know in conversations with city manager, they are thinking about modeling some work at the city around how we have accomplished what we've accomplished the way that we have, and kind of want to use what we've done as a model. So that's exciting. And Tom and I have already talked about, what phase 2 would look like, so that we can continue upgrading our buildings in a way that is fiscally responsible, but accomplishes some of the big ticket things we need to get done. So I feel really good about the work that they have done for us and with us to get our buildings in good shape to start the school year. And the communication and customer service has been outstanding. Frank has said he's never worked with a group that's been as responsive as they have. So I'm really happy about that and pleased. Any questions?
Amy, do we have an idea of when the boiler will be completed, or is there a timeline
It is sounding.
before winter, hopefully?
Yes, we have the temp that's running, so
Yeah.
we're gonna be heated, we're not worried about. They think that it's gonna be done in October. But, yeah. But yes, we have a backup plan. Regardless, we have a backup plan.
And I just had a couple of comments. So Amy had mentioned the job fair, and I think something to keep in mind is that those substitute teaching positions and those educational technician positions can be really great opportunities for parents who are considering returning to work, but also hoping to mirror schedules of their children. Those can be really great opportunities and also have some really great benefits to them as well. And I did just want to mention, in looking at the correspondence and communication, well, it's sad to see that many resignations. The positive feedback in those resignations was really
Yeah.
incredible. So as we move forward, I think it's important for the community to know that while we did lose a handful, so many of those were very positive
Yes.
about the school department. So-
Yes, thank you for mentioning that.
Yeah, I was struck by that also.
Yep. Yeah, it's nice. Not nice to lose
And
people,
in one of the
but
resignations
yes.
by an ed tech, she said that so she could spend time at home, but she'll be willing to work as a substitute.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, so still contribute.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great too.
Yeah.
Amy, do you happen to know, so if you do have a CDL and you go to take your bus driver course, how long does that take?
You have to do the course. So
Okay.
that's several days of the course. And then you have to, unfortunately, in Maine, they require you to drive the bus for X number of hours. I don't know off the top of my head. And so that is some of the frustration, and superintendents are pushing back with the state. If somebody has their CDL, why do we make people redo a whole other course and a whole lot of bus driver hours? Because some people literally just throw their hands up and say, that's not worth my time.
Yeah.
So what we try to say to people when they express that is, we get it, we understand, and we are trying to push back on the legislative licensing side, but the schedule's fantastic, the benefits are great, the hourly rate is good, you're giving back to your community, you get to be around kids, and so we try to focus on that, but it is an effort.
Okay.
Yeah, unfortunately it is. Maine is very unlike other states that way.
And are we still covering the cost of that?
Yes.
Is that still an offering?
Yes, for sure. Yep, so we will pay for, if you're interested, we will pay for in exchange for you driving for us for 2 years. Yep.
Yeah. And I think another challenge to that, obviously, is that every school department is looking for bus drivers, so
Oh, yeah.
it's
Nationally.
tough. Yeah.
For sure.
Any other questions? Okay. We will move on to committee reports. I believe many committees will be touched upon later in the agenda.
Facilities just
facilities
got
to-
covered.
Okay, yep. Okay, we will move on to item H then, public participation.
Don't all jump up at once.
I know. Moving on, new business. Audit presentation.
So I will say, Ron Smith from RHR Smith and Company is here to do our annual presentation, and then Carolyn and Amy are both here if we have any questions.
Good evening.
Welcome.
I'm Ron
evening.
Smith, principal of RHR Smith and Company. I'm tired, so if I don't have to exhibit a lot of energy, I'm tired. Been doing this for 35 years. We do probably more than 2/3 of all the municipalities in the entire state of Maine, and more than half of all the educational units in the state of Maine. So we know who you are, we know what you are, and we know what's going on around you. So yeah, and certainly I would say, I would start by this. I'd say that the profession certainly has experienced a lot of growing pains. Our firm has felt that we've gone from a firm of 43 to 84 people in less than 14 months. So we certainly are committed to who you are, and really providing the service, because there's not a lot of auditing firms out there. So we talked with our partners at DOE Audit, and we certainly made a commitment to this, and we're happy with where we're at. And it's been a long journey, but here we are. So we're required by statute to have a report out to you for your 23 closeout of your audit, and we are knee-deep in 24, I'm pleased to say. We just landed the city's audits plane, so that is finalized now too. So we are knee-deep, moving forward in 2024. So the school department received our highest opinion, an unmodified opinion, as of June 30th, 2023. The compliance, we tested your ESSER program last year. There were no federal findings or compliance findings for the school department. So we're here and pleased to report that. Your fund balance, carryover balance of about $3.9 million is about $600,000 shy of where it was the year before. But that's much better with your planned spend down that you had for 23, a lot better. Largely in part to tuition coming in over budget by more than $400,000, and you returning some of your cost center appropriations back to, the bottom line to reappropriate again for next year. So what you thought was going to be a very difficult year financially was, but not as difficult as you thought it would have been, when you put that budget together, is the best way I can say it. So. Best practices, I think there were a couple of small instances that we reported out to Amy and Carolyn, more so on the student activity accounts, just some best practices and, in that area. But you can see the remarkable, for lack of a better way to say it, progression of your books and the transition, from year to year to year in the audits. Thank Carolyn, thank Amy, for that. Certainly it's a pleasure to work with them. There were a lot of conversation. Ron, when are you going to get here? Ron, when are you going to do this? But I'll tell you, it was a team effort to get here, with the school department. And, and certainly they made it very easy, for us to get here and, and transition into FY24. And if there's probably one piece of advice that I'll leave you, and I'll certainly answer any questions you have, but leave you. It's kind of where I kind of left you last time, but there was really not much we could do in 23, and I know you're moving forward in 24. If there's one area that I would say you're probably shy in, is that your carryover balance at the school. I'd probably redirect some money to capital. I see needs there. That pool of money is one size fits all for the school department. I think you're light in capital. I think you got a lot of infrastructure, needs here. I think that you see that, you recognize that. I was part of some financing package that you guys have put together to address some of those issues. Carry on, really. I think that probably somewhere in the 26 budget, and I think you probably, if I were you, depending on where the math falls with 24, I'd probably think about redirecting about $500,000 to some capital needs, You've got it. If it's there, move it. Statute allows you to do that. So, and certainly through the budget process, there's many ways to do that, and we can certainly help Carolyn and Amy facilitate, that process. But that's probably the biggest financial piece of advice. While you've got it, protect it, take care of it, move it to where it's needed. I think capital is a big need, not only for the city, but for the school department as well.
Yeah.
So, And I am more than happy and prepared to answer any questions you may have of me.
Could you just repeat what that wonderful term was that you said our rating was?
Unmodified opinion. It's like the highest opinion that we can give you.
Like that
So,
one.
Thank you, Ron.
Yeah. So, yep, that's it. So-
Ron, I know that in past years, I think we've struggled a little bit to have the audit be complete by the, like, what's the ideal time to complete the audit?
December 31st for the school department.
Okay.
You know, we can get extensions until, actually, right about August 31st now,
Uh-huh.
you know, is what the state's granted for extensions. We didn't need that. You know, we're submitting the, you know, the city audit, you know, since that plan is landed, you know, but I think everybody needs to be in mind, you're a department of the city.
Right.
So as the city goes, that's the actual audit that the Department of Education is looking for. And the city, you know, and I heard you talk about it now, there's a lot of transition. The city literally has gone through turnover twice in the past 2.5 years in the finance department. So one of the things that Carolyn and Amy and I, you know, had the conversation, let's land the schools plan like right now, and we'll continue to work with the city. You know, but I know that we certainly see a lot of energy coming out of that city office
Yeah.
now, and, you know, a lot of teamsmanship coming out of there.
Good.
A lot of teamsmanship. So hopefully the ideal time is December 31st. City knows what they've got up against. You know, we're actually coming, you know, trying to arrange within the next 2 weeks to come sit with the finance department, Nate, and really kind of talk about some strategy. We're already ahead of in '24 with the school department, the earliest we've ever been. So, you know, so we just, that's progression. It's what we want to see. And here's what I'll also say. There's probably over 60 school departments, and it's published on the website for the Department of Education, that don't have a 23 or a 22 audit, you know, right now. So the state of government's ugly. It really is. And I've met with Department of Education, I've met with federal people, I've met with our state auditor, and they're trying to address really what that is, because there is no short-term solution. There's a lot of people with these unfunded mandates, with these requirements, skill sets that are required to sit in the chairs, you know, that Carolyn and Amy are, and they're just not there filling the chairs anymore. And that's why we're seeing the world of government, you know, really, you know, in the state that it's in. And it's getting to be a crisis, and it was actually talked about at MMA on a panel that I participated in last October. It's going to be talked about again, you know, so anyway, it's nice to see the progression here. It's nice to see the energy, you know, from the school department. It's nice to see the energy from the city, you know, and I have every reason to believe, you know, this team effort is how you're going to progress. So it's nice to see the collaborations, so.
That's great.
I was going to say, so let's take a moment and acknowledge Carolyn and Amy and
Yes,
Kathy
absolutely.
for all their work in our
Yes.
finance department. I also will use the moment to say that, if you recall, last year we talked about being on highly monitored status for our grants. That has also shifted to low monitoring. Is that the official designation? And that's because of finance and Nikki Chan's work. So we are moving in the right direction. We are accomplishing some really awesome things in all of our departments and schools across the district. So thank you to our finance team for all their
Progress.
hard work.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Any
you.
questions for Ron?
If
Thank you,
there's any
sir.
follow-up questions, just let me know.
Do you
Yeah.
want to stay for the rest of the meeting?
I do not. I got a long day ahead of me and a long journey, so.
Thank you, Ron.
Thank you,
Thank you
Ron.
for coming.
Thank you.
Oh.
And I'm gonna let Carolyn and Amy can vacate too if they want.
Thank you both
Thank you
Yes.
very
both of you,
much.
and
Thanks, ladies.
thanks to Kathy
Great
also.
job, guys.
Yes.
Thank you.
Bye, thanks.
Bye, have a good night. All right. Number 2, discussion and consideration for safe in-person instruction.
So it's hard to believe that we still have to do this. And so I want to make sure I preface this for the community, that we are not like in a COVID crisis. This is a mandate by the state that we do this because we received ESSER funding. So we have to provide documentation that we review our COVID plans and how we will deliver instruction if COVID happens to occur in our building. So I did put in your handouts, in your folder, the copy, because I know Kelly had said there was an issue with opening the document. So I did print it for you. What this basically says is that we continue to agree to safely provide safe schools with good ventilation and areas for people to hand wash. And that if you are feeling really sick, there's a tool that you can use that the CDC has put out that will help you determine whether you should stay home if you're not feeling well or not. And this outlines if you have COVID or if you come in contact with someone who has COVID, what you are to do. And our school nurses, Joe Merrill and Michelle Osborne, have been on top of this from day one and worked tirelessly to stay on top of this and provide us with information. And so they had a say in this as well and helped develop this. And so this is for you to approve tonight to keep us in compliance for receiving ESSER funding. If people want a mask, they're welcome to. We don't mandate it. Just some of those same COVID protocols that we ended last year with are still in place for the fall. No testing. No, the schools aren't responsible for any of that anymore.
So nothing's changed since last year.
No, we had sent a memo out to all families last spring with changes, and this is still a reflection of that.
Thank you. All right. Do we have a motion?
I will make a motion to approve the 24-25 safe in-person instruction and continuity of services plan as presented.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor? Thanks. Okay. Number 3, acknowledgement of personnel committee.
So I mentioned this earlier. Really proud of the way leadership team has jumped on vacancies this year. They've worked tirelessly to immediately jump on candidates because it is a competitive market. Okay, it didn't used to be that way, and now it most certainly is. So the 4 nominees that you have on there are teachers that personnel acted quickly and we were able to hire. Of the 4, all 3 are going to be able to start the school year on time. Our new Ellsworth High School English teacher will be held to her contract at Sumner and probably won't be able to start the year with us, but will be coming as soon as possible. I've talked to Mr. Eastman quite a bit the last few days. They're committed to filling it as quickly as they can, and if they're able to hire someone, they'll release her. But we will honor that. That's kind of a gentleman's agreement between us all. So there are 4 hires that personnel approved that we'd like the full board to acknowledge. Aaron Gibbs is our new EEMS EHS choral music teacher. Steve Schaefer for our new remote learning instructor, really excited about that. Carolyn Sproul, some may remember, she used to be with us when I first came to Ellsworth High School. She was there as our new EEMS 7th grade math teacher, and Shannon Dickinson, our new Ellsworth High School English teacher.
Need a motion?
I do.
I move to acknowledge the Personnel Committee's action on behalf of the board in confirming the superintendent's nomination of the following teachers with a first-year probationary contract for the 2024-2025 school year. Aaron Gibbs, choral music teacher at both schools. Steve Schaefer, remote learning instructor. Carolyn Sproul, EEMS 7th grade math teacher. And Shannon Dickinson, EHS English teacher.
Second.
Any discussion?
I just want to say thank you.
Yeah.
That's hard work on behalf of the interviewing and the personnel committee and administration. Like, this is really great that we've
Yeah.
got some really great people to fill some positions.
Yes.
And I'd like to extend thanks also to the teachers who are coming on board and joining the district.
Yes. I'm very excited about people we've hired.
Mhm.
I feel like we're building a really good team, people who are in line with where we want to go as a district, and I know administrators and Nikki and myself feel really good about that. So these are great.
They are. And when the packages came into the personnel committee, I was like, wow, could these resumes and this history be any better? So, yeah, we're getting some great people. So, all those in favor? Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Number 4, consideration and approval of facilities and transportation director.
So very thrilled. Honestly, we had posted this position when Frank first resigned and was a little nervous. We didn't get any traction. And as you all know, I'm still devastated that Frank is leaving. But when we pushed it back to the top and re-advertised again, we were very fortunate that we had 4 to 7 applications come in. The committee came together and interviewed 4. And our nominee tonight rose to the top, both through his resume and through the interview process, and then certainly through reference checks. David is here this evening in the back with his wife. David comes to us with high education and also with broad experiences that I think are going to greatly benefit us. Having been maintenance director, that may not be the formal title, but at Hollywood Casino, and also has worked at the Bucksport Mill and supervised. If one of the big things Bill Tracy and I talked about is, oh my God, if we get this HCTC project, having his level of expertise and facility management work is going to be great. Has a great background in finance and budgeting and strategic planning. So he brings a lot of different experiences to the table that the committee is really excited about. He is able to start August 26th, is kind of what we were hoping. And so the first day of our PD for staff, he'll be able to jump on board. Had great conversation with Mike and Josh about transitions. I feel good about that. Frank is done this weekend. And so I do want to take a minute, and while we celebrate David, I want to thank Frank for his tireless work in our school department for the last couple of years. He's been a great teammate, a great leader. People just genuinely loved him and his leadership style. And I, of course, will miss our middle of the night roof calls, but feel really comforted to know that we have someone with great education and experience that David brings to the position. And really, the committee looks forward to, getting to know him, building relationships, and getting him on board and getting his feet under him. And I have no doubt that it'll be great. So personnel reviewed and approved him. And so looking for your formal approval tonight to, and his administrative contract.
Yay.
So I will make a motion to approve the Personnel Committee's recommendation to hire David Stevens as Facilities and Transportation Director with a full-time administrator contract for the 24-25 school year as presented.
Second. Okay. Any discussion? Other than welcome, and we're so excited to have you.
Yes.
All those in favor? Okay.
Yay.
Yay.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Very excited.
Right, number 5, consideration and approval of CTE construction application.
So, this has been a labor of love, right, Mr. Tracy? So, and as you know, for me, this is like, oh my God, please, Lord. So, we attached the pages and pages of the HCTC application. So for the community, so that they know, the Department of Ed did release the Major Capital School Construction Program application this year. We've been working on this for several months. I really want to thank Tyler Barter from Oak Point Associates. He's worked tirelessly to take the last application, the feasibility study that the city funded, and our current state of HCTC, and bring that all together into what I think is a pretty darn competitive application. Part of the process for us to submit this to the DOE is formal school board approval that you support us applying to be ranked for a new school for Hancock County Technical Center. So that's what we are looking for your approval on tonight. If you approve, Tyler and Oak Point will be spiral bounding and hand delivering to Augusta. to submit, and then we play the waiting game. And over this current upcoming school year, the DOE will do site visits, and they will go through their ranking process of where people fall on the list for the construction application. People always ask, are some of the building upgrades that you talk about, Amy, gonna hurt our application? No, we're hold harmless because we applied in the last round. They like to see that you've made upgrades and that you're working to keep your building safe, so that doesn't count against us. We probably won't see the ranking system for a year from this fall. It is a long process, unfortunately. But I'm really excited to get our name out there again and get us on the list. And of course, what will happen is a certain amount of money will be allocated to this fund. And then based on where you are on the list, that amount of money may cover 3 projects, it may cover 8 projects. And if you're in that lucky number, you get X number of funding, and then anything above and beyond that is the community's responsibility. So looking for your support tonight to get this application submitted.
And the deadline for the application is the end of this month,
August
right?
30th,
Yeah.
yes.
So,
Way to go getting it done.
yeah.
Yes.
2
I
weeks.
know.
Oh, man.
Yes, we got it done.
And we have no idea what the amount of money is going to be that
Not
the
right
state
now.
is.
No, there's a lot of moving parts and talks because there is another pot of money, that one particular project in the southern part of the state. If we can get them to move that to that pot of money, because the fear is if Portland gets named with all the consolidation they want to do, that they'll eat all the construction money. And so the hope is that maybe the state will consider moving them into a different pot of money and taking them completely out of the competition so that other schools can
Yeah.
have a chance, a fighting chance to get on the list.
Because this application process, it's not annual. It's
Right.
it's not a set number of years, but I think there was what?
Several.
There was like, was it
5.
5 years between the last application process and this
Yes.
one? So if we don't get it this time, we got to wait possibly another 5 years. And
Yes.
Yeah.
And the HCTC Building Committee is still active. We're gonna start meeting again in the fall. And the plan of that committee is to start doing some educating and some fundraising, because if we don't get funded, we have to do something with the technical school. That there's no, we're not gonna have choice. So there's that. But even if we get funding, they never fund the whole project. They fund a huge portion of it. But we have some really big ideas and plans of some things we would like to do that we think could help transform the economic development of the city, not just benefit the school department. And so, we're gonna continue that committee work no matter what happens with this. Regardless, we need that committee work to continue.
Right.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Amy.
All right, I move to approve the 2024-2025 rating cycle application for building construction of HCTC as presented and recommended by the Facilities and Transportation Committee.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Thank you.
All right. Item 6, consideration and approval of disposition of surplus.
So per your policy, anytime we are going to take school department property and refurbish it or redistribute it, we need your approval. So tonight, there are 3 things that we are looking specifically to dispose of. First, Van 8, an old Bus 15. Both died slow deaths. Frank says painless. Our plan is, I believe, the policy says you go within the school and the city first, and then you can go to outside citizens. I believe the fire department wants the bus. They have typically taken our buses for fire training. So I believe that they probably will take the bus. The van, we're not sure, but there's that possibility. And then last but not least, Mr. Frost, we've been pushing to clean house. And so we have a lot of old uniforms that we would like to dispose of. And so those will be open to staff first. And then we'll move down, and parents and community members, if they have, you know, some nostalgia for a uniform, they can come look at. I distinctly remember a couple of basketball games, my son and his friends coming out with some of
Yeah.
the old school uniforms.
I was just gonna say, God knows dress up is a big deal during basketball games.
We should probably save some for that, but, so we'd like to dispose of uniforms as we try to utilize our space differently at the high
Yes.
school for our athletic trainer and for storage. So those are the three things we would like your approval for permission to dispose of.
Okay.
Motion? I move to approve the disposition of surplus per policy DN as presented.
A second?
All right, any discussion? All those in favor? Thank you. Okay, first read of policies.
Okay.
Holy bananas.
We're
It's a
moving
big
right
one.
along.
This is a
Well,
big one.
this is the chunk, right? Like, this is the big chunk. So, policy committee, God love Kelly and Beth. I kind of have said we need to probably have some extra meetings. We have some work to do, which we've known. So we have met twice in like the last 2 weeks, to really try to make a dent in some changes. So for the public to know, board policies are supposed to be reviewed every 3 years. And then as laws change, new recommendations come out for updates and/or brand-new policies that we're required to have. And so we are kind of chasing our tail a little bit because we have a lot of policies that were adopted as far back as 2014-15 that haven't been looked at since. And so we're trying to play catch-up with review, and we're trying to keep up with changes in law because God knows Augusta, the last couple of years, have really made some changes. And I don't see that ending anytime soon. So what you will see tonight is a huge chunk of policy work. The first are 4 brand-new policies, and then a chunk of policies that have amendments. And so to explain the 4 policies, and I won't go into a ton of detail, people can ask questions. First policy is KEB, complaint about school personnel. This policy has really come about because of the attack on educators and people not feeling protected and not feeling like they have transparency and know what's going on. We in Ellsworth, over the last couple of years, have certainly had some of our people feel under attack and feel threatened by either fallacies or not. And sometimes parents, students want to complain about things and there haven't been a set protocol or a way to handle those things. And so this will now be very directive about how that works, what has to happen, both to give guidance to administrators, but also to protect our people, to ensure that things that are fallacy or maybe things that do need to get improved upon, that there's a systematic way to address those. So that is a new policy, KEB, complaint about school personnel, that was in your packet. The next is JLI, JLI-E, which is report of dangerous behavior by students. So Drummond and Woodsum has worked really hard on this the last couple of years, and I worked with union heads on what this would look like. They met with me at the end of last school year, worked with the policy committee. We looked at other school departments' policies and procedures they had in place. And what you will see in your packet is the summary of that work so that we can start the school year off really talking about what that looks like and what those procedures are. And then our last 2 new policies, GBN and GBP, we're supposed to have as part of our finance, family medical leave and earned paid leave. Earned paid leave is a mess, I will say. And this, I'm hoping, is going to help clean a lot up with leave requests and how we will handle those, but also legal protections for our employees that do have rights. So those 4 policies are for first read tonight and are all brand new. So I don't know if any of you have questions about any of them. And of course, you have the next couple of weeks, I would say the next couple of weeks, leadership team and you guys have the chance to review and provide feedback so that if there are changes that need to be made, policy should address them before second read. And we can still approve the policy in September, even if we make some changes. But it's important that if people have questions or concerns, they let us know.
Any motions?
I will make a motion to approve the first read of the following new policies as presented and recommended by the Policy Committee: KEB, JLI, JLIE, GBN, GBP, GBPR.
Second. Any discussion? Yes? Do you have
I
a
was voting.
Oh. You're a little fast there, Paul.
Well, you're a little slow.
Ooh, okay. All those in favor? Thanks.
Oh,
Okay.
Lord. Okay.
Next up.
First read of the following are amended policies. So I will read the list. I can certainly explain the changes to each of you if you would like, or if you reviewed them, I don't need to. But in the board packet, what you saw highlighted in yellow were additions and/or language changes. A lot of them are to update our policies with past law, and we didn't really have a choice to bring us into alignment. I will say that IJJ, instructional and library material selection, that particular policy was reviewed by our librarians, by Katie, Janine, and Jamie, and they brought forth a lot of research and made some recommended changes for library challenge language. So that policy change came about because of their work. So those are the policies, so that for the public knows, we are looking to do GCFB, recruiting and hiring of administrative staff, KE, public concern and complaint, KI, visitors to schools, KDB, freedom of access, IJJ, instructional and library material selection, ADC, tobacco-free schools, JIC, student code of conduct, BEDH, public comment as school board meetings, JICIA, weapons, violence, and school safety, and GBO, family care leave. The only other thing that I would say is several of these that are around the area of discipline. Law is now restorative practices have to be a part of all of your discipline policies, so you will see over the next several meetings probably an iteration of all of our discipline policies having that trend. We also had very good discussion, both for public comment at school board meetings as well as library material challenge, about who can do those things, because that has been a hot button topic across the state. Who can public comment? Some communities allow only citizens, some allow only certain groups of people. Some people have it be anybody, which means somebody could fly in from Texas and participate in your school board meeting. We settled on not just citizens, because our high school has tuition students and Hancock County Technical Center. We service in our school department not just Ellsworth people. So we landed on language of Ellsworth School Department employees, parents, and students, and Ellsworth taxpayers. And so that includes people who are actively involved in our school department and send students here, but somebody from another town can't come and make judgment, which has been happening over the last couple of years. Our challenge policy for library materials also includes some more definitive language around, you have to have actually read the text to participate in a challenge. What school departments have found is that people were doing challenges just to create work and or political conversations, And school departments are now saying, we can have those, but you had to have actually read and participated in the material and be an active part of our school department or pay into the taxation in our community to have that conversation. So I feel good about the changes we've made. Policy worked hard to get this many up and running. So looking for your approval for the changes and amendments for this.
A motion?
I'll make a motion. Do you want me to read them all separate or as presented?
As presented.
presented.
Yes,
fine.
just because it's a lot. I make a motion to approve the first read of the following amended/updated policies as presented and recommended by the policy committee.
I second that.
Any discussion?
Do want to shout out to Amy and our administrators and over the past couple of months, also technology. We've had a lot of policies that we've been able to cover and look at. And I know that Amy is doing a lot of work to make sure that the ones that need to be seen first are getting seen first. And I think the fact that we were able to move through such a large chunk is because we knew which ones we really needed to get our hands in, so.
All those in favor? Thank you.
And then last but not least, we did have one policy that we reviewed, but there were no changes. So we simply need to say that you approved the review with no changes.
So I will make a motion to approve the review with no changes of policy GBEC, drug-free workplace as presented and recommended by the policy committee.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor? Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh,
I feel like we just did this.
I know.
We did.
The funnest night of the year.
Oh, my
Who's going to
Lord.
be the delegate?
I'm gonna watch you guys battle this out. How about
I'm
that?
gonna say I don't think I'm in town that weekend, literally.
Oh, hey, you planned
No,
that.
I have a senior. Yeah, maybe. No, I have a senior, and I believe we're looking at schools that weekend
You
before
can
convention.
do this, you do it remotely.
Yeah,
using-
you know, they won't allow it. It's
They have-
like I have to
I
be
knew I was gonna
hands-on
say
while my
that.
senior's checking out of college.
What is the date exactly of the delegates?
It's the, I think it's the Saturday before.
Yes,
The
the MSMA conference.
Well,
So-
if you're gonna pull that senior card.
You have a senior.
I know. Look at you guys.
I'm just saying.
Well, I'm checking my
It's a
calendar.
free-for-all for all of us.
Is it the 26th?
It's the MSMA, it's the 19th.
The 19th.
Yes.
The conference is the 24th and 25th, the Thursday and Friday.
Well, Ben's birthday is the 19th, so I'm out.
Wait a minute. Hold on.
Kidding.
This is October 19th, yes?
October
Yes,
October.
19th is when we
Beth,
need
do you
the
have a
delegate.
child who's a senior in high school or? do you
Or-
have
Or a birthday?
child-
No, but I have an anniversary. But I can.
I need one of you people.
I can
Listen.
do it. But the year that I did it, I'm gonna be honest, the year that I did it, it was during COVID and I had surgery, so I was there, but like, I don't.
You don't remember it.
You don't
so it
remember
doesn't-
it's really that fun, so that's why you don't remember it.
So I can do that if we need me
Okay.
to.
Are you sure?
I hear
I'm
an,
gonna put it on
I
my
hear an
calendar.
appointment as
I
delegate.
think so. All right. I will be your backup.
Okay, I've got a
We are
list of
grateful
things
to
to
you.
add to my calendar. October.
Well, and I appreciate it because honestly, having our voice at the table is important.
It really is.
And so I do know it's long, as Paul can attest.
Oh, so long.
But I do appreciate you guys doing
And
this.
it, but I do like the new way of doing it where they,
Yeah.
because they used to do it at the conference and you'd end up, if you were the delegate, you'd end up missing, probably 2 sessions during the conference that you
Yeah,
that you
agreed.
wanted, there was something you wanted to attend.
Or an entire day.
Or an
Yeah.
entire day.
But like,
That's a
how
good
come they
one.
can't make it shorter? Like, what's the deal with this? Like, because it really is a long period of time.
I think it's because there's so many people.
Yeah, and
The
it
top.
varies
You
from
know
year,
that.
it varies from year to year. Sometimes it is faster, but,
It depends on how much meat is in there that.
and how
people
much
have, like-
people are gonna argue about
Yeah,
stuff. yeah.
exactly.
That never happened.
Well, thank you
Love you,
both
Beth.
for, thank you,
Yes.
thank you, Beth.
We do need a motion, though, to
We
make
do need
this.
formal motions.
I make a motion to accept Elizabeth's election to the delegate of the MSBA conference.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Thank you.
I like how
I did that so
quickly,
fast.
how quickly
Get
you did
that
And
that.
I move to appoint Kelly as alternate to the MSBA Delegate Assembly.
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor?
Thank you.
Thank you. Item 9, consideration and approval of staff and student handbooks.
So that you know, because I know this gets asked, so handbooks are in their format right now, and as policies get changed, they do get updated and put in, same with staffing and any of those changes. And there is language in the handbooks that says that, and then anything that is really pertinent to families and staff, we post something or put something out. So those are always changing based on policy work and things that happen.
I move to approve the 2024-2025 staff and student handbooks as presented.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor? Thanks for all your hard work on those. It's a lot, I know it is.
So calendar announcements, she said see attached.
Yeah.
So we need to, well, honestly, we need to kind of, not reorganize, because we'll reorganize in October, but with the start of school, we need to talk about, does our schedule work for everyone still or not? So I will put an email out to each committee and just kind of touch base and say, are we good to go for August and, August, where we already have our policy committee, but are we good to go for September until our October meetings to get those in alignment? We do have our August 26th or 27th board workshop. I would like us to have that workshop so that we can organize the board for the coming school year, so that we can look at last year's evaluation, talk about where we want to go with that, and give you a final copy of the board handbook, so that we can kind of just reorganize and get ready. And this is probably a great time to say, if people are interested in running for a school board seat, papers are available. It is a great opportunity to give back to your community and serve on the school board. Beverly is more than, it's Abby's seat. I know that Beverly is more than willing to answer questions about time and what it means to be a new board member and not feel like you really know what you're doing when you come on. And she's been great, and,
Yeah.
just what the value added is. And so if people are interested, please feel free to call me or call anyone on the board to get information.
And we're not trying to push Abby out.
Absolutely
She
not.
has stated her intention to not run for reelection. Hers is the only seat open.
Correct.
This year, so, yeah, if anyone wants to talk to, I think any one of us would be happy
Yes.
to speak
And those
about the
papers are
experience.
currently available.
Through the city.
Yeah, the nomination papers are available at the city clerk's office desk.
And honestly, the nomination papers can be the most stressful part, but really, they're not that difficult either. Like,
You have to collect 50 signatures. It's a good idea to collect up to 60, so in case one or two
Get
people who
voided, yeah.
signed your paper, turned out they live in Mariahville or something like that, and are not registered to vote.
Right. Yeah.
But it's relatively easy to get 50 signatures, especially if you attend school functions.
Yeah.
Just go to one of the first soccer games, and
I think that's where I got most
Yeah.
of mine the
Yeah.
year, I think last year, football scrimmage.
yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, that brings us to adjournment. You're up.
All right, well, having no further business, I do want to note that we told Mr. Stevens before the meeting started that he was welcome, he and Christine were welcome to leave after we voted to,
And he stayed.
And
and
they
he stayed
stayed.
for the whole meeting, so, and fortunately for you, it
excitement.
wasn't a very long meeting.
I was going to say,
super
I am
short.
shocked by how quickly we got through this agenda.
Right?
But having said that, having no further business, I move to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
Tie. All those in favor? Thanks.
So, quick question.